Hello students, welcome back. In our previous session, we introduced asexual mode of reproduction in any organism, under which we learned what is asexual reproduction, what are the examples of asexual reproduction, and what are the different modes by which or different methods by which asexual reproduction can be carried out. So in today's class, we learn another method of asexual reproduction in any organism, that is vegetative propagation. So what is vegetative propagation? Vegetative propagation is the method where the organisms are producing same kind of plant by its vegetative parts. So the vegetative parts are acting like seeds in these plants. So this is also one type of asexual method of reproduction where no seeds are being involved in producing a new organism, that is plant. So the parts which are propagating the production of the new plant, they can be roots, stem, leaf, or even any vegetative bud. So these are the different propagators which produces the new plant. So a new plant produced does not require any sort of seeds in them. Moving on, we will see what are the different modes or different types of vegetative propagation. So the vegetative propagation can occur by two methods or two types, that is natural vegetative propagation and artificial vegetative propagation. So let us see this type of vegetative propagation one by one. So the first method is natural method. So the natural method of vegetative propagation can take place by the vegetative parts alone. So here the plant is producing a new form of a plant by vegetative parts, that can be a leaf, it can be a stem, or it can also be a root. So this type of method where the plant is utilizing the natural resources what is present in itself, like leaves, roots, and even stem. So this type of propagation or this method of propagation is called as natural method of propagation. So the natural method takes place when there are no seeds available in the plant or the seeds which are not viable to those plants. Moving on, we will see what are the different types of natural method of vegetative propagation. So the vegetative propagation by natural method can be taken place by the different parts of the plant, which comes like this, that is the underground stem also propagates to form a new plant. Then the aerial stem present in the plant also propagates to form a new plant. And then the roots of the plant, it also propagates to form a new plant. And then leaves of the plant also propagates to form a new plant or a new organism in the case of asexual reproduction of an organism. So the first method by which an organism or a plant can reproduce naturally to form a new plant is underground stem. So the underground stem is present in many plants such as potato, onion, and ginger. There are many more, etc. So these have the buds inside them. So these are called as the buds. And there is a bud present inside the onion also. So these are the buds. Under the favorable condition, these buds grow up into a new plant. Taking an example of potato, ginger, and bulb, let us see how the underground stems are able to propagate into a new plant. So based on these examples, the underground stem is further divided into different modes, that is tuber, rhizome, bulb, and CORM. These four different modes of underground stem propagation, we will discuss them one by one. So tuber is the first way by which an underground stem propagates into a new plant. So tuber here is the swollen underground stem which is bearing the stored food material in it. So whatever the production of food is made by the photosynthesis, that is being stored in this part of the plant. So the example here for the tuber is potato. So potato bears the buds in them, which is called as eye on the surface of the potato. So here there is the presence of eye which is capable of producing or giving rise to a new plant later on. So rhizome is the second way by which a new plant can be produced. So here rhizome is a thick underground stem which is growing under the soil horizontally. So one of the example for rhizome is ginger. So ginger here bears many nodes and internodes which are bearing buds. So these are the nodes and these are the internodes. So the nodes and internodes which contains the buds inside them, under the favorable condition they give rise to a new plant. And the other examples for rhizomes are banana and lily, which are producing a new plant by the method of rhizome. So the next way by which an underground stem can be propagated into a new plant is bulb. Bulb is a fleshy underground stem. An example for the bulb is onion bulb. So the onion bulb here has a number of buds present in that membranous leaves. They are called as scales. So when we take a section, a longitudinal section of an onion, then this onion will have a number of scales, the membranous scales in them. So these are the membranous scales present in the onion bulb. So these bear buds inside them, and then these buds present in between the scales of the onion give rise to a new plant. So few more example for the bulbs kind of underground stem are garlic, lily bulb and tulip bulb. So these are the examples by which an underground bulb can be producing a new plant. CORM is another type of underground stem. Here this is a round underground stem which bears the scaly leaves at the base of its CORM. So here you can see these are the scaly leaves which bear a number of buds which later give rise to a new plant. So gladiolus and zimicand are the one of the examples for the CORM underground stem. Aerial stem method is another way by which the plant propagates naturally. Here in certain plants such as grass, strawberry and mint, the stem grows horizontally above the soil, and at a short distance they bend, they touch the ground, and the root is grown below the soil and the shoot is grown above the soil. And at a short time of period, these grass plants or these strawberry and the mint plants, they cover a large area of the field. And this is how in certain grass fields the plant which is being grown on the field is covering a large distance and it is covering large area of the field. Coming on to the root natural method of vegetative propagation, here in certain plants such as dahlia, sweet potato and turmeric, the roots bear buds in them. And when these buds are getting detached, they form a new plant, and from one root there are many plants which are being produced. Leaf is also a natural vegetative propagator. Here in the example of bryophyllum and kalanchoe, the buds are present along the margins of the leaf. Here during the favorable condition, these buds on the margins of the leaf, they grow into a leaf or a plantlet. And later in the bryophyllum, when the buds they fall on the moist soil, so they grow up into a new plant which is independent from the parent plant. Artificial method of vegetative propagation is another way by which a plant propagates to form a new plant. Here this method is a rapid reproduction method and it is of great importance in farmers and gardeners. Yes, and it can be grown in a very short time. Because the plants can be grown in a very short time, it is of great importance in the farmers and gardeners. Here we can see in the natural method, it took a long time because the plants themselves, they have to make the propagator, and themselves they have to detach from the plant, parent plant, and then it has to grow into a new organism or a new plant. But it is not same in the artificial method, because of which it is a rapid reproductive method, and it is very great importance in the farmers and the gardeners, and it can be seen or it can be grown in a very short time. So there are different modes of artificial vegetative propagation. So the first mode is cutting, then we have layering, then we have grafting and tissue culture. All these methods are of great importance in the field of horticulture, where more of the ornamental plants are being grown by this artificial method. So you can see variety of ornamental plants showing different vibrant colors and different vibrant way they can be presented to the customers by this horticulture department. So the first way of artificial method of propagation is cutting. Here the small pieces of stem, root and leaves are cutted down, which bears buds in them. The condition is they have to bear buds in them. These buds are these parts which are being cut from the plant. The parent plant are then grown in the moist soil, which during the favorable condition they develop roots and shoots and form a new plant. So the examples for the cutting vegetative propagative method are rose, sugarcane, cactus, bougainvillea and China rose. These are the plants which undergo this way of artificial vegetative propagation. Usually we all have seen these nurseries and these people who are selling plants, they sell these stems of the rose. So which has been brought by us, and we plant that stem in the soil, and later after a few days, taking care of these rose plants, we can see a new plant being grown in the pot. So the next method of artificial propagation is layering. So here in layering, the branches which are present at the base of the plant, they should be flexible, and these branches are then sent below the soil and brought above. The tip of the branch should be above the soil, while the branch should be taken below the soil, and it has been fixed by the nail, metal nail. So later after few days, this branch which has been taken from under the soil, it starts growing roots. So once the roots are being developed, the plant will be cutted off. It will be independent of the parent plant, and then later it grows as an individual. The examples for this method of artificial propagations are jasmine plant and the other ornamental plants, which can be honeysuckle and climbing roses. So these are the few examples for the plants which show layering kind of artificial method of vegetative propagation. Grafting is the next method of artificial propagation. Here there is the requirement of two plants which are joined together and grown as one plant. So basically the plant which is having weak root system and which do not have the ability to form roots easily, these kind of plants are being propagated or are being grown artificially by grafting method. So what happens here? Here basically the shoot or the bud of the plant, which is called as scion, this is called as scion, which is bearing the buds or the shoots of the plant which is having weak root system. And the other plant which is having a good root system can be called as stalk. These two parts of the two different plants are taken and they are joined together so that they are in contact with each other directly and can grow as one plant. So they are tied and they are grown as one plant. So the plant grown by this grafting method has a good root system and it can bear a good yield of fruits and flowers. So the plants which are bearing this technique of artificial propagation are rose plant, mango tree, lemon tree and grapevine. So these are the examples of the plant which can grow the new organism or a new plant by the grafting method of artificial vegetative propagation.